All right, welcome back to Carson's Corner, your unofficial home of the Leafs breakdown show. So, Leafs and Blues tonight, looking pretty good. Both teams suck right now, so this is going to be an interesting one between two teams that really need a point either way. And the Leafs actually pulled out a win for once, because I swear I haven't got a win on this show in a very long time, which is nice. I thought the game tonight was pretty good. For both teams that were playing pretty cautiously, who really needed to get something going in this game, it was a very defensive minded game on both sides. There was a couple lapses here and there, but both teams were really playing to not lose this game or at least pick up a point. And that's definitely how the third period looked, especially the overtime, how both teams really just didn't want to do too much. But you know what? Honestly, like the Leafs played well tonight. I think they definitely got bailed out a lot by Joseph Wall. So thankfully he's back in. Because if it was Hildeby in net tonight, I really don't think the Leafs are pulling out with, even a point out of that game. But luckily, we're starting to get some guys back, even though Nyes was out before this game, too. So a lot of the main cast is out, and the boys stepped up tonight, which was nice to see finally. Getting some actual juice in the lineup. Some of the younger guys seem to really push the pace of play tonight, especially Cowan, too. Again, he looks like a baby. He's such a young kid out there, but he played with some heart tonight. He filled a big role and did well. So I really hope they keep him up here because he's contributing in ways that they need. I know he's gonna make some lapses and some bad plays here and there, but you got to let him develop. The Leafs really don't have anything in terms of prospects or guys coming up, so you might as well throw him in there. You might as well get him going as early as you can because we need every single player right now. And even when the main guys come back, Matthews, Nyes, even some of the defensive guys, keep him in there. I really think he's gonna grow and he's a playmaker. Like as we saw tonight, dancing down the middle, goes through a guy's legs, and just squeaks it through Bennington and goes off the post. So he's a guy that, if it were up to me, I would just keep him in the lineup from now on. See what he can do the rest of the season because you need a guy like him to bring some juice and maybe just some young positivity. That's what these guys need. Just something different from the same old, day in, day out hockey slog that it is. First period was pretty good. As usual, the Leafs give up the first goal again. I don't know what it is with this team, but they always like to play from behind. No matter what it is, any game, it's been a signature sign or just core value of these Leafs that they always like to play from behind. And I guess like I've gotten used to it personally, but I think that you got to start jumping on teams. They come out, Mike Babcock always said, start on time, which never seemed to help at all. But it's been a lasting problem with this team, how they always seem to go down. And it's always early in the game, too. Like today, they scored, just under 2 minutes into the game and you're already down. So I feel like the Leafs get caught flat footed a lot right off the start of the game. Maybe that's just because they're just not ready right now. They're not, I don't want to say warmed up enough, but they got to come out with a little more jump to stop being just defensive minded and let the other team, walk all over them for the first little bit. The Leafs get a power play. Again, the power play doesn't look good. They get one shot. It still looks like a really big miscommunication situation going on there. It was better than the other power plays that we've seen lately, but there's still not a lot of, leading going on. There needs to be more direction with this power play. And putting Matthews on it where he should be, obviously he should be on the power play, but it seems like even when he's on it, it's not as good. They're all trying to force the puck over to him. So tonight it seemed better with some movement, but they still need a little more emphasis. Like we saw the Blues power play tonight, and even despite their record and their horrible start to the year, their power play is good. They're just ripping it around. They're having switch up, change ups. They're using the man advantage. It's actually looking pretty good. So, you know, the Leafs kind of got to change it up a bit and look a little more dynamic. It's just way too static. It needs to have more flow to it. But besides that, it was a slight improvement. Improvement. Jake McCabe scores, makes it 1-1. Great play. And Domi tonight too. Domi showed a little more progress than, what we've seen recently. Draws a nice 4-minute penalty tonight on a good play. And after that, he kind of faded into the night. I never really saw him do much of anything after that play, but at least he made one good contribution. 1-1 going into the second. And the second period for the Leafs, this season has just been awful. So the main thing going into that period was, can they at least just keep the game tied? Can they just hold the game at 1-1? It'd be nice if they got a lead, which they did, but they're the third worst team in the league for giving up goals in the second period right now. So at least we could just show some defense and just show a little more structure during the game, and they did actually, which was nice. Fourth line scored Lorentz, who's looking good too. 2-1. Leafs get a penalty after that on two awful calls on McCabe, to be honest with you. Like, again, I'm not here to do ref talk and how the whole, game looked in that side, because it was pretty light on penalties. But those two plays on McCabe, one, he's sliding, so he's not even looking at the guy. Guy trips over him as he's getting up. I'm not really sure how that's a tripping penalty at all. Like, I know, yes, he did trip him, but it's, you kind of have to look at intent there a little bit. And the second one, he's just kind of going for a hit, steps out of the way, guy catches the side of him. So, I get you got to make some penalties in the game and get some calls and whatnot, but I still, both of those calls to me were kind of weak. They're just trying to, move something in the game to get something going. So, it is what it is. Yeah, so Leafs finished the third period 2-2, which was good. Had a lead for a bit, gave it up, unfortunately. And a large portion of this game, they were pushing the play, but there's major swings with the Leafs. You can really tell when they get momentum and then they kind of just piss it away. There's just nothing there for them. They just, the ice tilts and everything's in their zone. They're having trouble clearing. And that's where Wall came in to bail them out tonight, which was, it was lucky they had him in there, because a lot of times they were giving up a lot of good shots tonight. And, if it's Hill to be in there or even Primo, it's going to be an ugly game. So the Leafs do not pick up a point tonight if Wall is not in there. Third period, Michelli has another tough call that's puck over glass. He just can't make that mistake at that point in the game. It happens. It's a total accident, but you got to be placing the puck a little bit better when you're in that situations. They don't really get many opportunities. It's more, they can't really maintain any offensive pressure in that time. It's, a couple rushes down, Blues go back, a lot of defense. A couple times tonight too, at least had a good chance to clear. I think it was Steven Lorentz on one of the Blues goals where golden opportunity to clear it out, misses it. And immediately I picked up my phone to make a game note, because I knew that was going in. That was like 15 seconds before the goal, and I already knew that was in the back of the net, and it was. So with this team, there's a real big problem with the second they miss a clearing attempt, you can tell it's going the other way. Like it's in the back of the net. It's just something with this team when they miss that opportunity. It's kind of like everyone just freezes and starts to puck watch, and then the other team gets a glorious opportunity and usually finishes it, which is tough. But I don't think that's going to be a whole season thing. I think it's just when you're in a rut and you're just not having the puck fall your way, that's just kind of what happens with it. Leafs get to overtime, which was good. At least you get 1 point. And the thing that really bothers me about overtime in this modern era is teams have kind of figured out how to strategically play it, where you're hanging on to the puck. Like it's a possession game, right? Like you're always trying to hold on to the puck to not give it away. Obviously, it's 3-on-3. There's going to be rush chances, but both teams just were pretty afraid to make any real attempts at the net. So it's a pretty boring overtime. You're sitting there watching them pass it back and forth. Guys go for changes. It's a brutal thing to watch, honestly. And it was designed to speed up the actual, pace of play and make the overtimes interesting. But Not in all instances, but in games like this where both teams are really trying to just play it safe, it really kind of ruins just the atmosphere of the game. You know, fans are booing, and it's not fun to watch. Luckily, John Tavares actually steps up, goes in the corner, somehow fends off three Blues players, kicks it out to, I believe it was McCabe or whoever it was who gets it to Willie. I'm going to say it right now. I think that's the goal of the year. I know it's early, and I know there's going to be a lot of other great plays in this league, but I'm saying it right now. It's the goal of the year, especially an overtime goal like that. When the pressure's on, comes off the bench, absolutely dangles someone out of their jock strap, puts it in the back. Leafs go with a nice little celly to the crowd there too. So he did well today. After Nylander scores on his own net to start the game off, which, you know, it's a bad play. It's, you know, you can't control puck luck like that. It sucks. But if there's anybody to do it, it's going to be him, because, you know, as soon as that happened, you know that he's going to have a big moment in this game to make up for it, and he did. So at least kudos to Willie, because he came back, and this team needs him right now. I think he's really been. I don't want to say he's more of a captain than Austin Matthews, but because he is a very quiet, kind of nonchalant guy, but on the ice he has character. He shows it. And that's what you want to see. You know, I understand Matthews is pretty passionate too when he scores. There's been some big moments and whatnot, but I feel like, you know, having Austin Matthews as the captain isn't a bad thing, but especially in his absence, you really notice the difference when other players have a chance to step up. So, you know, I'm not saying give it to Willie, but I'm saying that we should probably put a little bit of a bigger spotlight on Nylander, because I think he's actually doing a phenomenal job for this team right now. And without him, they have no points this season whatsoever. But it was good. Leafs actually get a win, which is nice. Going to keep it short again too, because weeknight. But if you're tuning in, appreciate it, and I will see you next game. Go Leafs, go!